You have all probably heard the phrase, love makes the world go round. Today, it is our love of sewing, especially heirloom sewing, that will make our world go round. You are just going to adore learning a new way to create pintucks, one of my favorite heirloom techniques. Quick and easy applique methods by machine will tempt you. I just love knowing that you have chosen to spend time with me and my friends here in my sewing room. Thank you for being a special part of my world. I think it's time for us to begin. This is the most adorable little pajama camisole lounging outfit, made out of the softest butter knit you have ever felt, and the beautiful French lace, and the silk ribbons, and the little rosettes. What I really want you to look is this wonderful treatment over here with the insertion and the beading and these really beautiful double needle pintucks. You know how I love double needle pintucks. The little camisole is absolutely adorable too. Let me move my arm here. It has the same treatment going diagonally with the wonderful double needle pintucks, and this is the technique we're going to share with you in a few minutes, the easy pintucks in the round. Now, we're not through yet with this cute little outfit. The tap pants have the cutest pintucks and lace and ribbon also. Let's see this pintucking in the round, or the continuous pintucks, how easy it is to do. Starting with a piece of knit, this case of knit, of course you can use any fabric. You're going to do one double needle pintuck down one side. When you get about here, you're going to stop and then flip it around. Let me show you what happens there. Okay, here's the first pintuck, goes all the way around, comes here. Now when you get to this point, you stop. Then you slightly move your fabric over. You offset it just a little bit, and you'll be moving your pintuck a little bit, where this first pintuck fits in one of the grooves, and this one will fit in the second groove. Then you use your free arm. You use your free arm on your sewing machine. You keep going round and around. When you finish it, you cut it, and there are your double needle pintucks, as easy as can be. I'm so glad to have as my guest today my very dear friend Connie Palmer. Connie is an educational specialist with Husqvarna Viking. Connie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me again. We always have fun.
We do, yeah. Connie.
So it's like a little special vacation.
It is. Connie, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, we are going to do pintucks in the round, which is a very easy pintuck technique to do, especially when you have a lot of pintucks, long strips that you need. Like if you're doing a yoke dress and you have to do pintucks all across the bottom, you wouldn't want to do one at a time. Doing them in the round just going to make it faster for you. So that's what we're going to show you how to do. So you'll be real excited. You take your strip first and you do one pintuck down the side of your fabric, and as you come up to the start of the pintuck, you stop about 1.5 inches before you get there, and you slide the fabric up underneath the end of it, and you offset it just a tiny bit, and that's what's going to give you the spacing of your pintucks. You're offsetting, and then you just line it up. Line up the pintuck in one of the grooves and keep going. Now here's the set that's all finished. See, it just went around and around and around. Once you offset and get that guide, you can just keep going. And you finish your whole strip, and you cut the edge, and then you have your whole strip that you can cut up into small pieces if you need to, you see? So that way you don't have, right, it's so much easier. But that's what I'm going to show you how to do. Now, to set up your machine, you would of course check your manual for your machine to set up for the pintucks properly. You need 2 spools of thread, and you need a pintuck needle, and you need a pintuck foot and a twin needle. And I'm using a 5-groove pintuck foot for today because this fabric is a little heavier, and a 2.5 needle. Okay. How's that? So we'll just put a guide right here. Put the edge of the fabric even with a spot on your machine. Now all we have to do is keep sewing and sewing and sewing. Now I'm going to sew all the way down to the end and sew and start the second one so that everyone can see.
That's
right.
such a magic trick.
Right. Now the only problem that you're going to have is you're going to get sleepy because it's monotonous.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You stop. Yeah.
Now you stop, bring your fabric around underneath the free arm, and get your thread out of the way. Now just lift up the edge of the fabric, slide it up underneath there. Now I'm lining up this tuck with the groove that's under that toe, but you could put it on any of the grooves, or you could put it beside the pintuck foot, whatever you decide, however far you want them apart, because remember, it's your shirt. And now you just keep going. Now that's the only time that you have to offset that. From now on, you just sit here and hold it. And that's why I say you might get sleepy. You have to watch it. Right. So you just pin tuck, pin tuck, pin tuck. You see how easy that is?
What a fascinating
Isn't that
technique.
special?
Honey, it's just really a fascinating technique. Okay, here we come.
Here we come around to the beginning. So see, now you just
you don't
keep
have to do
going.
any more moving or
No,
grooving.
just keep going. It's
Well,
perfect.
Connie, that is just fascinating. What a wonderful technique. Thank you for sharing
You're
that.
welcome. Thank you.
And now Connie has some sewing inspirations for you. I bet you think I have the fanciest burp cloth on my shoulder. Being a grandmother, we know about burp cloths. This is so cute. Done on one of the pre-folded diapers with the little princess. And Connie, I bet some people are saying, now Martha, look at that wonderful rayon lace. Is that going to wash very well?
Oh, it washes and dries so well. I have a blankie that I carry on the plane all the time, and I wash it every week and dry it. And it just
holds up extremely well.
Great.
Now this quilt is so cute. I love the little letters, the machine embroidered letters with the gingham peeking out from behind it. All right, here's a B, and Connie, tell us how it's quilted over here.
Bubbles.
Where it looks like a bubble. Oh, even the quilting square wheel. Okay, here's a C, and what does this look like?
Clamshells.
Oh, Connie, that is so wonderful.
Isn't it cute?
And I love the little gingham in behind the machine embroidered letters. This pillowcase is another big favorite of mine. So pretty. Connie, it has those same letters, this time with lace behind it.
Right.
And the lace shaping with wonderful, just a little heavy applique stitch, and the rickrack is fabulous. And what about the little stitches above and below the rickrack?
That's the candle wicking stitch.
By machine, of course.
Machine,
absolutely.
all by machine.
And Connie, another one of my very, very favorites is the baby pillow. I know you have a grandson, so you probably favor blue.
I do.
All right, and here is the blue gingham behind the baby letters. And if you'll hold this one, this adorable pillowcase, which kind of goes to show that heirloom sewing can be for the home also.
Oh, yeah.
This is the wonderful smocking in the hoop. And Connie, I love to hand smock, but I know a lot of the ladies don't have the time to hand smock, and also the just the finger fact, you know, when you can't, when your fingers begin to hurt as you get older. So this is a wonderful.
Besides, you can have that done in about an hour.
Oh, an hour for this whole
Right.
See, these are beautiful. Another way of using heirloom sewing for something for the home.
Right.
For us, it doesn't have to be for little girls' dresses and for
doesn't.
christening dresses.
Correct.
Absolutely beautiful. As a matter of fact, I would like to have a set of each one of these pillowcases and think I'm going to go home and do a set of these pillowcases. Connie, this is just so exciting to have the machine embroidered alphabets. One of the reasons that people tell me sometimes they even buy an embroidery machine is they're simply going to monogram towels and pillowcases and quilts and do things like this for the home. So you know how much we love it.
Right.
Connie, these are beautiful things. Thank you so much for bringing them. And now Connie has a so quick, so easy project for you. Connie, this is the cutest little tooth fairy pillow. Little flange pillow, and I said for your grandson when he gets older. And starts
Great-grandson.
Oh, Connie, it's a great-grandson. Oh, my goodness. Well, it says Carter's Tooth, and here we have a C and a P, his initials. This wonderful little bias strip down making a little crisscross, and a little dollar tucked in here for the tooth fairy gift. Connie, this is so adorable. Now, how did you do this?
Well, it was a nice, quick and easy gift. gift, because a lot of times we have to have something that's fast to take to the party. So this one is a very fast gift. First off, the initials, that's what I'm going to show you how to do, is the initials, and they're very fast, done in the embroidery machine.
All right.
All right? So the first thing that you need to do is hoop up with your fabric, some wash-away stabilizer, and you're going to put your checked fabric on the back. And a product that you're going to use to hold those all together is a temporary spray adhesive. Now, I don't know what we would do without temporary spray adhesive anymore. So you're going to spray so that all sticks together. Then you slide it onto, now these don't have hoops on them, but you're going to pretend that there's hoops there. So the first step of the embroidery is to embroider the outline of the embroidery. So that sews all three of those layers together. Remember the check, the stabilizer, and the fabric. Now, after it does that first step, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to trim out, on the right side, you're going to trim out the fabric inside the sewn area. Okay? Then you're going to turn it over and you're going to trim away the fabric around the outside of the area. And these little squeezy scissors, those are the ones I like to use, because boy, you can see just snip right around with those scissors. And so you pull all that fabric away. So that's the next step. Then slide it back onto your embroidery unit and you'll do the second step of the embroidery, and that does all the satin stitch. So that covers up all of your raw edges, and so that makes it nice and clean, you see? So when you wash it, then it looks like this. Now you don't see any of the stabilizer, and you can see on the back.
It was a wash-away stabilizer.
It was a wash-away stabilizer. And that's how simple you can make those embroideries and how fast you can make them.
And Connie, I think I've seen you put lace behind them and
the lace,
gingham.
and the lace, you can put lace, you can put netting, you can put just anything that'll fit behind there. So you can make just a pretty, I have done one too, where I put a darker color fabric and like an organza over the top to make it look like a shadow work.
Oh,
so there's many ways you can use that alphabet.
How much fun.
Yeah.
Connie, thank you so
You're
very
welcome.
much. And now we have some machine embroidery ideas for you. I am so pleased to have as my guest today Denise Applegate. Denise is Sales and Creative Manager of Embroidery Designs for Cactus Punch. Denise, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Martha. I'm so excited to be here.
This is so cute. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, I had two skirts, and I wanted to kind of update them, so I cut the two skirts apart and sewed them back together again to color block them, and it's pretty popular to color block right now.
All right.
And then I added some embroidery over the sewing line, and we're going to do some raw edge applique today.
Now, you put another piece of fabric down, though, before you did the embroidery on top of the two pieces you had gathered.
I did.
This is called Fun. All right. Show us what you did.
Well, we have an embroidery collection that has units that you could put together, or in the collection, we've put them together for you. And we've taken here our base fabric, which would be either the houndstooth or the wool, and we have a silk dupioni, and the silk dupioni will fray a lot. So if you want to have a fabric that frays a lot, use a natural fiber, and the raw edge will fray when you get there. The next step I want to show you is where we've embroidered it out. So we've got our embroidery, okay, and we've sewn out the flower, and our extra piece is here, and we would cut that away. So let me show you on the sewing machine what we're going to do.
Okay, now you embroidered part of it just on the skirt, and then put the extra piece of fabric on top for part of it.
Right.
So you'll have fray some places and not fray some places. Okay.
Right. So in our hoop, we've used a stabilizer, and this is a fusible stabilizer that I've placed in the hoop. Placed our fabric on top of that we fused to it. And then here we have our silk dupioni.
Okay.
I used a little bit lighter color so that you could see it better at home. So on here, I've placed the silk dupioni, and once we start, it's now going to continue to embroider that flower around. Once we're done, we're actually going to end up trimming all of this space out around the flower. Once it's washed, which this was done in a hand cycle of my washing machine because it's a wool skirt, the frayed edges show.
Denise, this is so much fun because it shows us something else, something creative to do with our embroidery machines. And so many of us are very fortunate that we do have an embroidery machine. I also love the fact that you've got the big hoop on there. So much easier when you have a big hoop.
Much easier.
I suppose it could be done in a smaller one, though. You would just have to pick it up and move it a little bit more. But this is so cute. And you've used your red and you've used your black, and the black. This is really a way of updating a skirt that maybe, or two skirts. I guess one skirt had to go away, didn't it?
No, I sewed the other two together also, so I do have two.
Oh my goodness, okay. Well,
and the other one, I put little flower pieces in the center, so I use like little crystals and put in the center of the flowers.
So you beaded those flowers a little bit. Denise, this is a wonderful, wonderful idea. Thank you so much for sharing
Well,
that.
thanks for having me.
And next I have a quilt segment to share with you. You know how I love heirloom quilting, and this is a quilt that was for my grandson, William Joseph Collins, and we've just gotten through talking about wonderful pin tucking, and look at this gorgeous center heart. This is kind of a big lace-shaped heart with crisscross double needle pin tucks in the middle, wonderful pin stitching to stitch the heart, and then little shadow stitching. Beautiful edging goes around the center section. But what we're going to talk about now is this wonderful shaped bias that's been stitched down with a wing needle and a pin stitch. Do you see this beautiful blue piece here? Well, this is shaped bias, a very easy technique to do, just a little bit of a trick in seeing how you do it. But thank goodness for bias tape makers. Now then, come on over here and let's just see exactly how we did that beautiful shaped bias. It was shaped in ovals, or as my daughter used to call those, footballs. So she called them lace footballs when lace was shaped in the pretty oval shape. Several things you're going to need to make that beautiful quilt over there, that one particular section. You're going to need to get your fabric ready to cut bias strips, and of course you need a rotary cutter. And when you do the pin stitching, I like to use a wing needle. You can use a large regular universal needle like a 110 or a 120, or you can use a wing needle, which I love wing needles. You know they call me the wing needle queen because I love them so much. Now then, this is a little trick. You've rolled it around a paper towel holder. When you make bias strips, if you go ahead and cut your bias strips, this is just your raw edge bias strip, always go ahead and roll it around something and then just stick a pin in it so it won't get all messed up or stretched, more importantly. Here is the actual bias strip. If you're going to make this has already been folded, it's been turned under and folded. If you're going to make your bias strips much in advance, please, after you spray starch and press them, please be sure you roll them around a paper towel roll, because if you don't, they will just slip right apart. It's critical that you do that. Now, this is a bias tape maker, which is absolutely wonderful. You can get them in several different sizes. I'll turn it over there so you can see. This is also a critical trick on doing bias. Do you see the length of the little metal part here that it has to slip through? Be sure on your bias strip that you cut that at an angle and starch it as stiff as a board, because if you don't, when you slip it through here, it doesn't go through very easily, and you'll have to work and work and work. Now, when you have that little tip, that skinny little tip starched very stiff, then you are in good shape. Another little trick, there's a little handle sort of back here in the back. So I'm going to put my bias strip, I'm going to slip it back through this handle, so it kind of gets it out of the way so I can have something to hang on to. Okay, there's my little skinny piece. All right, I'm going to put it over here so you can really see what I'm doing. This makes it the easy way. You know, I like everything the easy way. This is a glass head pin for sure. Do not use plastic because the iron. Now I'm going to I'm beginning to get actually to the bias part. I'm going to put my iron in here. I'll try to hold it in my left hand so you can see better. And I'm going to keep the iron very close. Can you see how I'm slipping this bias tape maker and keeping the iron very, very close. Hope I don't burn myself here. Very, very close to the bias tape maker, and it will lay down perfectly every time. If you don't keep your iron close to it, it sometimes flops apart. Okay, bias tape is now made. Then we're going to trace off the design, whatever design. This happens to be a couple of ovals. I like to go dot, 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 rather than trying to put a solid line. It's less to wash out later when you have your washout time comes. Now let's shape this bias. I like to use, always use glass head pins. I'm coming into the miter. All right, a pin at the bottom, and I'm going to put a pin at the top on the miter, a pin at the bottom, just traditional lace shaping. Pin at the top, fold the mitered piece back on itself, remove the pin at the top, put it right back in the same place, and look, a perfect miter has been folded in. All right, then as in lace shaping, I'm going to come around, hold on to it. I'm going to come around and I'm sticking pins into a board. I use a lace shaping board, however you can use a cardboard box, just something that you can stick your pins into. I'm putting the pins on the outside area because that's the big part of the shaping. And I come around, careful to put my pins right on the very outside area. And see, this is still sticking up a little bit. That won't be a problem because it's bias. As soon as I come on around here, I'm going to slip around here real quickly. All right, because of time, you're going to just have to pretend that I put the pins in there. Well, how am I going to hide this tail? I'm going to come right in here and be sure that the tail, that the joins come where I'm going to slip this other piece of bias on top. Therefore, you can see no join. And then after it's all shaped, I come in and give it a shot of steam. Remember, you have to use glass head pins. I give it a shot of steam and the bias lays down perfectly. All right, I'm going to use my wing needle, and here I've used a brighter blue thread so you can see the wing needle and a pin stitch, which is also called the Point de Paris or the Madeira applique stitch. I like to use that. If you don't have a machine with that stitch, no problem. Just use a tiny, tiny zigzag. This is what it looks like done in the brighter blue, and of course what I really like to do is to do it where it really doesn't show so much and you just see the hole. So here I have shown how it is done in ecru the way we did on that wonderful baby quilt. And now I would like to share something from my vintage collection with you. We've had so much fun talking about pin tucks today. I'm going to share with you some other kind of tucks on this wonderful skirt, which is a little over 100 years old, I believe. First of all, we have release tucks right here. A release tucks means a tuck that you stop and the fullness is there. But oh, this wonderful skirt, the bottom of this skirt. First of all, do you remember how we did the mitering with the shaped bias? We've got some gathered lace and some shaped lace with miters, more shaped lace, and more tucks. This time crisscross tucks, not double needle pin, well, not narrow pin tucks, but actually tucks on the skirt. Oh, more beautiful tucks. 1, 2, 3 tucks, and then some French lace insertion. 1, 2, 3 more tucks, and then the hem that has been turned up. And something very interesting to me on these most of these clothes, the hem was actually turned up and machine stitched, if you can believe it. After all of this massive amount of work, they just put in a straight stitch machine hem. For our Sewing from the Heart today, I have a wonderful letter from Angie Fowler from Fredericksburg, Virginia, the American Sewing Guild there. Dear Martha, I am a member of the Fredericksburg, Virginia Sewing Guild. We make heart-shaped pillows for those who have had heart surgery. The fabric and polyfill for the pillows are donated by the Lions Club, and the sewing and the stuffing is donated by the Guild members. At our March 2007 meeting, we made tote bags for homeless children that we read to weekly at a local shelter. We made a total of 30 bags. Some of the ladies in our group make chemotherapy hats for ladies, lap quilts for patients to use while they're receiving chemotherapy, and outfits for bereavement babies. We are all thankful to be blessed with a talent that can touch other lives. Happy sewing to you, Angie Fowler. Well, Angie, to you and all of your wonderful American Sewing Guild members in Fredericksburg and American Sewing Guild members all over the United States of America, I want to personally thank you and to tell you, those of you that maybe don't belong to the American Sewing Guild, what a fabulous organization it is, and you really should look into belonging to one where you are locally. Thank you for joining me today in my sewing room. I certainly want to invite you to come back next time.